Hi, everyone. Welcome to my second Meals Across Miles freezer meal workshop. Um, Happy September, happy fall. It's finally here, and in Chicagoland, it wasn't 90 degrees, so I was very excited. Each month, usually on the third Wednesday of each month, I do this YouTube stream and I feature one of the Tastefully Simple meal kits. Um, and today I'm prepping 4 out of the 5 freezer meals that are included in our Skillet Sensations 5 meal kit. Why 4 instead of 5, do you ask? Well, that's on me, totally my fault. What happened was, and you should learn from me, is that I ordered the Skillet Sensations meal kit, and then I left everything in the box for a few days. And then a couple days ago, I took everything out of the box, and everything comes wrapped really well. That's glass and plastic wrap, so bubble wrap. And so I took off the bubble wrap, and I noticed that the corn and black bean salsa was leaking, like the lid had popped. So it's really never a big deal. You just contact Tastefully Simple, and they emergency ship you within a couple days a replacement for the product, because sometimes packaging damage happens. It's just one of those things. What can you do? My problem tonight was that I didn't actually open everything when I got it. If I had done that, I'd already have the replacement. But since I didn't, lesson learned, I don't have it tonight, so we won't be able to make that meal. We will be prepping the other 4 meals in the kit. And the idea with this kit is that all of the meals can be made in one skillet, so you can avoid a lot of dishes. So, which is always good. I don't like doing dishes, even with the dishwasher. It's a real pain. So less dishes is great. So one thing that I want to remind you is, before you get started with any meal prep, what you want to do is gather your measuring cups and whipping items, and locate your tablespoon. But what I find is that I don't use this a lot. What I like to do is just guesstimate it. So use your tablespoon, your teaspoon, whatnot, if you like. I most of the time don't personally use it. I just wing it, which can have wonderful consequences, and not very often anything bad happens. So totally go for it. Just feel the vibe, wing it. And then also you want to open up your Tastefully Simple items so that they're ready to go, so you don't have to mess around once you start prepping with trying to get the plastic off the outside of the bottles, or take off the inside, the little barrier they put in there, so you're the first one to open it. You can skip all that if you do it ahead of time, and it really streamlines things. Also, my number one favorite tip is right before you start on the bags what everything is, because if you try to write afterward, if there's any kind of condensation, even permanent markers don't work. So the first 2 meals that we're going to prep today include our artichoke and spinach warm dip mix. Now you can see on here that it is like this ooey gooey warm dip mix. Normally what you would do if you wanted to make it as shown is you just take 1 packet, mix it with a brick of cream cheese, and then it says a cup of shredded Swiss cheese. I personally have used more than that, and I do recommend checking out Aldi has Swiss Gruyere cheese blend, shredded. Buy that if you can. It tastes super good. But tonight we're going to use this to make a sauce, an Alfredo sauce. So the first meal we're making is the Alfredo chicken skillet. And here's one other tip I have for you. When you're putting things in these gallon bags, put the bag in a bowl to anchor it, so you can work with it without having to hold it at the same time. So I'm just going to put in the artichoke and spinach warm dip mix. And then I'm going to add, and this is again already opened. Open everything first, then start cooking. I'm going to use half a cup of reduced sodium chicken broth. Is my chicken broth actually reduced sodium? Alas, it is not. You know, even when I take the grocery list to the store, it doesn't mean I'm going to get it right. But it is organic, so maybe that helps. Anyway, then we're going to use a cup and a half of half and half. Any brand will work. I wonder if you could use a dairy substitute for the half and half, you know, like in a soy or almond milk half and half. Maybe I'll try that next time. I feel like it wouldn't be as rich or thick of a sauce, but I wonder if oat milk would work instead. That being said, the artichoke and spinach dip mix does contain milk, so you still have a little milk in there if that is what you're trying to avoid. So we just put this all together, and then we whisk it, and it basically stays right where I want it, which is super handy. And then, well, you just close this one up. Now, the next step that you take is, and we're going to use our chicken now. So another thing I decided to do, according to the directions here, it says in a medium bowl, combine chicken, avocado oil, and onion seasoning. And so what I thought was, what if I don't put it in a bowl? What if I just cut up the chicken and put it straight into the gallon bag so I don't have another dirty bowl? So that's what I've done. I got 3 pounds of chicken, and because you need 3 pounds total for this meal collection. So 3 pounds of chicken, got it on the best sale I could. And then I cut it up earlier. Half of it I chopped for the meal we're going to make next. And half of it, this is 1.5 pounds thinly sliced chicken breast. And then it says 2 tablespoons of avocado oil and 1 tablespoon of onion. Now, if you remember from last time, these measure 2 tablespoons. So if you fill it halfway, you got your 1 tablespoon. Am I going to put more onion in there than the recipe says? Yes, I am. So a little bit extra there, you know, for good luck. And then for the avocado oil, I will go ahead and use the tablespoon. So it'll actually be measured. 1, 2. And see that, what did that use? Maybe that much. So for future reference, I will just probably be winging it. And then it says to mix it up in the bowl. But what I'm going to do here is just mix it up in the bag. Even better, right? Less bowls. I don't know about you, but I don't have an unlimited supply of bowls. So this just works so much faster. If you do want to do it in bowls, you can make these first two meals using the same bowl because it's the same broth, half and half artichoke, onion, and avocado oil and chicken, basically. So you can do it all together in a couple bowls if you prefer. Okay, so that's done. And then next, what we do is we have the noodles. I pre-made 12 ounces of gluten-free fettuccine because Tom prefers gluten-free. Mostly, he follows that. So that goes together, and we can start putting everything in these bags. So you have the pasta of your choice, fettuccine. You could also, if you're in a time crunch, buy the prepared pasta. I think it's just Barilla that has it. And then you throw that pasta in the microwave instead of having to cook it over the stove. And the chicken is in here, and the sauce is in here. And then the last thing we add, and you can mix this up too to your family's taste, is also in this bag. We're going to put 3/4 of a cup of green peas and half a cup of Parmesan. So same thing, put it in here, cut off the top. I like peas, so I am going to eyeball about what I think 3/4 of a cup of peas are. Because if there's a little bit too much, I don't care. I'll eat it. All right, so I mean, I definitely have more than 3/4 of a cup peas here. That's okay, I don't care. Now, if your family is not into peas, you can also go ahead and you can use broccoli. You can use broccoli. That's popular with Alfredo's. Peas is what I'm using. I think you could also use maybe tomatoes, whatever sounds good to you and your family. And then you mix the Parmesan cheese in there with the peas. And again, I'm winging it. I had a whole bunch of Parmesan cheese, but somebody else ate it. So I think that's about the right amount. One thing I noticed is when I buy the items for the freezer meals, often the family eats some of what I was going to use to make the meals. So then I have to improvise. And I hear that that's good for staving off Alzheimer's. So, improvise. It's good for your brain. And then that's ready to go right into the freezer. Next up, we have the chicken noodle skillet. The chicken noodle skillet is going to be in my freezer for a while because this recipe calls for a bag of frozen noodles. The best frozen noodles that you can buy are Ream noodles, and other people besides me must know that because Jewel was out of the noodles. So I couldn't buy any noodles when I went to the grocery store. And so I'm just going to make this, pop it in the freezer, and then when I see the noodles are at the store, I'll just buy the noodles and then I'll get to finish this off. So what we do is this one needs 2 cups of reduced sodium chicken broth and then half a cup of the half and half. So it's like the kind of the opposite of the Alfredo. The Alfredo is going to have a richer, thicker sauce because you have much more of the half and half. And then this one is going to be more brothy with a light sauce because you're going to use so much more chicken broth. And I think that's probably also because the frozen noodles are going to cook in the sauce, in the skillet when you make this meal. Now, if you love Ream's noodles, you could, I think, if you felt like it, you could use the Ream noodles in the fettuccine recipe as well, right? It couldn't hurt. The nice thing about these meals is that you can tailor them to your taste and preferences. And if you feel like experimenting and trying something new, they're pretty forgiving. So this is a good place to do some experimenting. And, just try something new. If it's a complete disaster, you can call me and I will replace the products that you wasted on your failed experiment because we've all been there from time to time. Okay, so again, we have the sauce ready. Super easy. So glad I remembered to put the bags in the bowl. You got to be careful with this because you're dealing with a lot of liquid. So, we use good gallon bags, the ones that are specifically for the freezer, not the ones that are not for the freezer. Okay, and then I don't have my bag of noodles, so I can't put that in. But I do have my basic mixed vegetables. Now for the chicken noodle skillet, again, if you don't like this kind of mixed vegetables, get some other frozen mixed vegetables. There are a ton of options at the grocery store. And so, buy what looks good, buy what you like, and buy what's on sale, right? So I'm just going to put about half the bag in here, which is going to be likely more than the 2 cups that the recipe calls for. But vegetables, I like them. I'll take more of them. Can't go wrong with more vegetables. Can you? No. There's no research that shows that you can go wrong with adding more vegetables. So then the last thing we need to put in this bag, again, it is like ready to go because I put everything in here already with the chicken. And so now to this we add 1 cup of sliced celery. You can buy celery that's pre-cut if you're really in a time crunch, but it's way cheaper to take a little time and cut up your own celery. I don't really like doing dishes that much, but I like chopping vegetables. It's a good time for me to think. And with this one it says to do the whole 2 tablespoons, so a whole capful of the onion in there. And then again, it says 2 tablespoons of the avocado oil. We also have, if you like Tastefully Simple products, we also have roasted garlic infused oil. If you want to experiment again and you have that oil, you can sub out this oil for the roasted garlic infused oil, because we all know that garlic is good and more garlic is better. That, again, is so true. So you can't go wrong with garlic. You can't go wrong with more vegetables. So I'm just mushing this all together. Now, a little workout for the arms. If you skipped arm day, there you go. Get a little workout in. Work on those fine motor skills as well. Moving your hands. And then you just put that in with everything else. And then we will all keep our fingers crossed that sometime soon I can get my hands on some more frozen noodles. If you are industrious, you could make fresh noodles instead. No, I don't mean the kind that are dried. I mean fresh from scratch noodles. That's the only thing that's going to be close to the reams. So there we have our 2 chicken meals. Next up, I'm going to make beef lo mein. And this one, it just looks delicious. I cannot wait to make this for the family, or maybe just for myself. I won't even tell them it's here, and hopefully they won't notice. Okay, so for this one, we are going to need For this one, you use 3/4 of a cup of reduced sodium beef broth. Again, I did not get a reduced sodium, so I think it'll be fine. I think we'll be okay, but you can definitely not be like me, and you can get the right stuff if you pay attention at the store. Okay, so 3/4 of a cup of reduced sodium beef broth. This is half a cup. So I used to, when I would cook, I would use I would just use the half a cup, and then I would do 1, and then I would try to guesstimate the other half. But now I'm like, well, this poor 1/4 cup hardly ever gets used, so why not get out the 1/4 cup and go ahead and get some use out of it? Share the workload. And then we're going to add half a cup of our honey teriyaki sauce. Now, if you're familiar with honey teriyaki, then you know how it usually pours. And you can see here that we have a real thick honey teriyaki sauce. When I buy the kind that's not Tastefully Simple at the grocery store, it's more like a soy sauce in its consistency, which is a major bummer. So I personally highly prefer the honey teriyaki sauce from Tastefully Simple. So you put those two items in the bag and then you zip up this bag. I'm mixing it together a little bit because, the beef broth, a lot of that is going to cook off when you're cooking. Okay, so there's that. And then next we need to grab the beef. So this is beef flank. It's a little bit less than what the recipe called for. This recipe calls for 1.5 pounds of beef flank steak, thinly sliced. And beef flank steak, in my opinion, is not cheap. So I got, it's like a pound and just like a little tiny bit over a pound. And that's all I'm going to use. And I have more vegetables to offset the lack of meat. And, they say red meat, you should like simmer down on the red meat. So this will do. And then in here, what we're going to do is put 1 tablespoon of avocado oil. And then the next thing you add to this is 1 tablespoon of toasted sesame oil. Toasted sesame oil gives such a great flavor to anything that you're making, Japanese, Chinese flavors, anything Asian flavored, Thai food, all of it. Sesame oil really just adds a great flavor to it. I didn't measure it because I had like about a tablespoon left in here, so just put all I could in there. And this is from Trader Joe's. It's organic. I don't think it really matters if it's organic or not, but there we go. And then the recipe calls for cornstarch. And I didn't have cornstarch and I forgot to get it at the store. So I'm just going to use, and this is obviously not gluten-free. I'm going to use flour instead, which is not great, but it should work. And just 1 tablespoon of that. And then I'm going to, once again, mix this up to try and coat it as much as possible. So the meat has just a little coating of the flour on it. If you were here, oh, you could smell that toasted sesame smell. Oh, it's so good. So good. If you haven't been using it in your cooking, you've got to start using it. That bag is done. So you have those 2 bags. And then what do we need next? Next, I have 8 ounces of lo mein noodles that I cooked earlier. Cooked it earlier, cooled it off, rinsed it off, then put it in its Ziploc bag and stuck it in the refrigerator. And then the last bag that we need is our vegetables. And for this one, we're going to put, we're putting bok choy, chopped bok choy, and 2 cups of shredded carrots. Okay, shredded carrots, so much easier and not too expensive to buy pre-made. But you have to be careful because if these are 5 seconds after the use by date, then they are usually, take them straight to the trash. They do not hold up well, so buy it right before you need them, or, it's just a waste. And this is about, this calls for 2 cups of shredded carrots. So I'm going to go ahead and put in about half the bag. And in here, we're going to add a little bit more avocado oil. See, I've given up and now I'm just pouring it. And a little bit of onion. Again, a little bit to you might not be a little bit to me. I like that onion. And then also the bok choy. Again, this is more than it calls for here. So 3 cups chopped bok choy, but I like bok choy, and so I'm adding more. What is bok choy? It's kind of like a cross between romaine lettuce and celery. It has a nice mild flavor, and it tastes really good sauteed and in something that's like a honey teriyaki dish. So then we just mishmash this all together. And so for this recipe, I'm so excited to try it that I'm not going to freeze this one. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the fridge, and then I will make it tomorrow for dinner. So tomorrow, dinner, beef lo mein. If you see me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, I will post a picture and you'll be able to see how good it is by my picture. And then the last item that we're going to make tonight is another meal that uses our honey teriyaki sauce. It is the steak and veggie skillet. I said steak, but I meant shrimp. The shrimp and veggie skillet. This is what we're having for dinner tonight here at my house because the recipe says to get raw shrimp. And that would have been a great idea. But raw shrimp was not in my budget this week. So frozen shrimp it was. And not even raw frozen shrimp, because that was also not in my budget. What I managed to fit in my budget was, as you can see here, cooked shrimp. So I defrosted the cooked shrimp, I washed it off, and stuck it in the bag, and we're going to have this at my house pretty soon. Because I feel like, people should, there's kids and husbands should have challenges and opportunities to grow as people. I am not taking off the tails. That's on them. I'm cooking the food, they can take off the tails. So all we do to this one is we add, again, can you guess? What have we added to all the meats? Yes, avocado oil and onion. Victoria, what if I wanted to try something different? Could I add garlic? Yes, you could add garlic. I would do like half onion, half garlic. So again, it says 1 tablespoon, but I don't take that seriously, and I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons. Again, this is much easier with these bags in the bowl. Oops, almost put honey teriyaki instead of the avocado oil. Put a little bit of that in there. I mean, you've all probably watched cooking shows. Nobody's really measuring the oils, are they? We're just winging it, giving it our best guess. So yes, if you get the Skillet Sensations meal kit, it's going to say to use raw shrimp, and that way you can freeze it and then defrost it later. But what I got was already frozen, so I'm like, well, it's already defrosted now. I don't really want to refreeze it, so I'm going to make it for dinner tonight. So there's the shrimp, and then next, what you're going to do is, it says what you need is 1 cup jasmine rice or white rice. So on clearance, when I went to the grocery store, was this. So I thought, that sounds yummy. I'll get that. So we're going to have this in the shrimp and veggie skillet. I already made it. It's right here, and there's only this much of it which is about a cup, I guess, because I already ate half of it yesterday in another meal. Super good. I really like it, and I'm a little bummed it was on clearance because that probably means it's not coming back. But I don't think you can see this. This is made with jasmine rice. Jasmine rice, it just has a little, like, I want to say like a really light floral flavor, but it's not floral like gross to eat. It's nice, light floral flavor that you're going to enjoy. So jasmine rice, try it. It's super yummy. And then what I was thinking was, if I want to add more rice and make this even healthier, I may, when I cook it, go ahead and just throw this in 90 seconds, microwavable, rice, vegetable, cauliflower. Because what I have found is, if you use this and you mix it with the honey teriyaki overpowers the cauliflower nature of the rice cauliflower, so it actually tastes good. That's just my opinion. You may love rice cauliflower. Me, I need it to be hidden flavor. So we'll go ahead and try that. And then the last thing to go with that is just a bag of stir-fry vegetables. And then if you do make this meal without freezing it, you could use your own vegetables. Like when I make it, I'm going to throw in mushrooms because the husband is a big fan of mushrooms. So with the shrimp tonight, we're going to have mushrooms. And that is our 4 meals for tonight. I just want to mention, most of the meals you can switch out proteins. Any of these meals you can make with a different protein, especially like chicken for pork. And then with the beef lo mein, you could use anything: seafood, beef, tofu, anything. It's the honey teriyaki you can use with any sort of protein or even no proteins, because it has such a good, strong flavor. It lifts up everything. And then once again, happy fall. I hope you have a great month. This meal collection, the 5 meals, is available through the link on this live stream. And thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. You can do that on here. You can also set a reminder for October. In October, I'm going to pick some meals out of our Comfort Foods 10 meal kit. So October 20th is the date, October 20th. It's a Wednesday. We're going to have cozy comfort foods. So I hope you join me. And if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and post. I'm happy to talk with anybody anytime. Thanks again, and have a great September. And join me next time for the next Meals Across Miles. Bye.